Okay, guys, let me kind of get this together here. All right, so online, okay, we have a question. Some red flags. We're really talking about buying cars. And specifically, he kind of reaches out and wants to know about online red flags going online. Okay, I like to buy cars online. So to me, that's one of my favorite subjects, I guess. So, all right, so let's talk about some of the possibilities of red flags from the beginning to the actual purchasing that you may run across online. I'm going to spend about 10 minutes on it, but we'll see if we can kind of hit some of the basics, and I'll expound on it a little later if you want me to go a little more, but I'll give you some basics to look out for. First thing I'm looking at online is you're going to see the picture. So if you're looking at it now, if this is an auto auction, we're not talking about auto auction cars. We're talking about, you know, private sellers from one of the apps. So if you have a really, really polished car picture, I mean, ridiculously nice looking picture, 9 times out of 10, it's not real. It's usually a scammer that's in multiple places, posted in multiple places. I mean, it's just how it is. I don't know. I guess they buy the 4K prints or whatever from one of the sites, and then they publish those pictures, which they're way over the top for people that sell cars. So I would not. A lot of times I don't even address them. The second thing that I'm looking for in that same ad is if they have a Gmail account or for whatever reason they're removed from the communication loop where they can't have, let's just say they say, well, I'm selling this car for my sister. I'm just throwing this out there. I'm selling this car for my sister, and please contact her at Gmail. Blah 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 blah. Almost always, almost 100% of the time, it's a scam. I mean, literally, almost 100% of the time. But I don't even address if it's a pretty picture at Gmail. Those are like two. Number one, I don't even know what their intention is, but whatever it is, it's a waste of your time. So I don't know if they're trying to. I have no idea. I don't even contact them. So the other things that I look at, this is just red flags in general, not necessarily scams. So after I've identified the picture, in the picture, I always look and see if there's any identifying marks on the vehicle, like that would kind of coincide with whatever the article is, or whatever the ad is. So plates for the town, inspection stickers, things like that. Make sure that it kind of fits. You know what I mean? If it's a summertime and there's 4 foot of snow on the ground, we know that this picture does not match. You know what I mean? Like there's something out of sequence with it, which is cool. Um, Sometimes that does happen, but that is like a small red flag. Now, when it comes down to communication, it, it it's easy for us to say that, you know what, this isn't important or this isn't worth chasing, but the truth is a lot of people that are hard to communicate with is because they're easy to sell. So if you are having someone that doesn't put their information in there completely, we run across this all the time, incomplete information, but you can tell that from the picture that it looks legit, it feels legit, like you're like, you know what, that's not the best car deal, but that is a deal on that car. I wouldn't mind going to look at it, but the person hasn't gave enough information for you to get in touch with them quick. Go ahead, start fighting it. Get the email, reach out. Don't make an offer. Just try to get in front of the car, because usually those people that did not take the time to fill out the information, they're just not taking the car deal serious, which could be one of two things. One is they're full of it, or two, they just don't see any value in the car, so they're not putting their time inside of it. I know it seems kind of weird, but it's just how it is. I've been many times when I've went and bought a car from people that just put half-ass ads out that I'm just like, how do you expect to sell this car? And legitimately, they just don't know any better. So even though it may seem like a red flag, that's actually a white flag to me. All right, another red flag. or things to look out for. These are just like hot spots to look out for. So you go look at the car online, and you want to go look at it, but you can never talk to the person that's selling it. If you can never communicate with the person selling the car, it really becomes difficult. Not saying that there won't be a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, but when you're trying to communicate with someone and you can't get that person, the seller, on the phone, I can't tell you how many times I've wasted my time. I've won a few times, but overall, I lose when I can't get in touch with the seller. You know what I mean? Or have some type of real heavy communication with maybe the spouse, husband, the wife, the mother, the daughter, whoever. Maybe not the actual seller, but the person that's close enough. But if you can't get your hooks in those in that bone, it's hard to bring it to fruition. So clearly, we want to communicate with the person selling. Now, throw this out there: young girls that are selling their cars. I say girls, young women. Older they are, the more apt they are to communicate. But the younger ones, they tend to just really be evasive because they don't understand communications, and they're not really into. They get nervous about people coming to see them. So if you can tell it's a younger person selling the car, and they would probably have apprehension about meeting the general public, that's cool. That's a different variation. So that's not really a red flag. That's actually something good because, at least they have enough sense to, look out for their own self. Let's see, something else I'm looking out for out there. So if I went and looked at the car, one of the first questions I ask anyone is, do you have the maintenance records? Or where are the maintenance records? I very actually, do you have them? I usually say, where are the maintenance records? Or do you keep the maintenance records in the glove box? And right there, they're going to say, you know what? I don't have any maintenance records. And you'll be like, oh, well, is it time to change the oil? And generally, if they say, yes, it's time to change the oil, this is someone that doesn't take care of their car. I mean, it works out like that. I don't know why, but it does. If someone says, yeah, matter of fact, the sticker's in the window, the person takes care of their car, the oil sticker. Or if they say, hey, every receipt's in it, and that's just that's a given. But it's just something to think about when you're buying something with a lot of miles on it. A couple years old, you might want to make sure it's got some maintenance on it. Another thing you're looking for is anything that's red flag to me is anything that's covered up. So if you are looking at things like, let's say a dash light or something like that, but there's a business card in front of it, there's a family picture in front of the AC module so you won't hit the button. There's all kinds of little things that people do to distract you from looking at cars. And when they do that, they're usually underhandedly and trying to hide something, which is why I always use a checklist. Matter of fact, I need to make that available to y'all. As soon as somebody that is internet savvy can teach me how to upload a form, I'll be glad to do it. But you need to have a checklist, and that'll kind of avoid that. But anytime I see any red flags, to me, that is a red flag if you're hiding something. All right, what else? So another red flag to look out for, it's not the seller selling, it's not the owner of the vehicle selling the vehicle. Is that a bad thing? No, but it is a red flag to look out for. Why? Here's why. Let's just say that someone buys a car and they want to resell it to someone else, but they don't know the people that it came from. And let's pretend there becomes a title problem. Let's just say it's not even their problem, but yours. You screw up and you put your stuff in the wrong area or the title, whatever. And now you need to get a redo on the title. Well, that's problematic if you can't find the original guy. So that's one of the main reasons you want to buy it. And then, of course, if you do buy it from the actual seller or the home of the seller, then at least you have the confidence that it's probably not a stolen car. But 9 times out of 10, most car thieves don't steal the car title too. So in my career of all these years, I can't even remember the last time I ran across, quote unquote, a title issue. Um, but speaking of that, if you do buy the car, before you pay them, I always ask to see the title. And what you're looking for on the title is their brands. And by branding, I mean, does it say salvage, previous total loss, previous salvage history? It'll have something on that on the pertinent information, usually in the left. Depending on what state you're in, but there'll be some type of information that's available to you from the DMV where they're listing it. Now, also pay attention if you live in one of the states that doesn't record salvage history. I don't know what state, I can't remember off the top of my head, but there is a few out there that do not put salvage history on the titles. However, the salvage history is available, and when it goes to the next state, that next state's going to brand that title. So let's just say you bought a 3-year-old car that was salvaged out of a state that doesn't require it. You take it to your state, they do. Well, that car immediately is going to be worth half of its value. So that is a huge red flag. Are you dealing with a state that doesn't have salvage? Which, if you ever watch my series on buying cars, one of the things that I'm preaching constantly on is the VIN data. You can do a VIN check on any car. It's readily available. You're 100% ahead of the game by doing that. You need to go ahead and get your hands on as much information as possible. All right, so what are red flags, what I might be looking for if I was buying an online car? I think that the person themselves really tells me a lot. Like the location, when I'm meeting the person, do they fit the bill? Do they seem like someone that you're gonna feel comfortable with buying a car? Do they feel like they have a roundabout knowledge of whatever they're selling? The typical stuff that we all get a little nervous of. And sometimes you just have to, you just got to trust your instincts. All right. All right. How about we pick up this tomorrow, because Jen is telling me I got to go. I got to go, guys. You know how it is. Anyway, I love hanging out with you guys. This playlist I've got going on here, which is how to start a used car lot. I'm just throwing all these videos in that playlist, so it's always available. But any other subjects you want to talk about, I'll talk about some more red flags tomorrow, just so you kind of know what's going down, because there's a few more that I want to go over. Meanwhile, have a great day. It's Saturday. Go make your money. Go get paid. And live the good life, baby. We'll see you tomorrow from Ocean City.